right. Welcome, everyone. Did anybody not see the update? Everybody knows that we had a change of topics slight. Um, okay, great. Jason, can't see you, which is fine, but you can always use the chat um, if you have something to say. Um, Let me ask another question. And I think the answer is probably going to be no to this one, but just so we can all get on the same page. Does everybody know what bandwagon is? Yes, no. um,
And
so
yes,
I think Jessica was kind of on the fence there. Ben, maybe you could give the short elevator pitch. You're probably better at that than anyone else, although if you're anything like me, you'll have a hard time condensing yourself. So,
Well, I've done the elevator pitch a couple times. Um, Bandwagon is basically an open source application for sharing music online. It was started on the Fediverse as basically a Fediverse knockoff of Bandcamp. And so it aims to do most of what Bandcamp does, but on the Fediverse, so an open network, and also as an open source application where right now I think I'm the only one running a real production instance, because it's still kind of getting up on it's still like a wobbly little kid the first time on its bicycle. But pretty soon I'm really hoping to have a lot of other people hosting their own bandwagon servers and then kind of tie those together with a distributed search and a bunch of cool features. But basically, anyone can run their own mini Bandcamp using this software. How is that as a start?
excellent. Um, so we have talked about doing a variety of different things, and there are a couple of paths that this could ultimately take for us. Um, One of those paths is like, for example, we've talked about um, you know getting involved in various technical things as like an ongoing occurrence. We've also talked about doing technology education and various educational stuff. So there's a path where we do more bandwagon stuff down those avenues. Helping musicians get on bandwagon. Helping them understand how to choose the right platform, those sorts of things. Um, that is um, explicitly not what we were going to talk about today, unless we just get done with the feature request stuff and want to talk about some other stuff. But I don't, I don't think that will be the case. I think we'll have enough to talk about on the feature request side. So basically, yesterday I put in a feature request. Um, Basically asking for label support. I said net labels, I think, in the actual request. I don't know. This is one thing that we probably need to tease out. Like, are there differences, like features that a net label would want versus like a label? That's one thing that we probably want to talk about. Um, there's maybe this is a thing that we talk about today. Certainly relevant to a certain extent. Um, Whether or not we host one of these. Ben was just talking about, right now he's the only production operator of one of these. So that in and of itself could be, even if we don't go down a path where this is like a big focus of ours, just even running one could be a useful endeavor, I think. Um,
And could I
so
jump in on
yes,
that really
absolutely.
quick? There's a lot of things, and I'll try to not jump in on you too much, but
No.
um, the way that the whole thing is set up, there's a bunch of technical stuff down below that I'm not bothering you with right now, but I'm hosting a number of different domains on my own bandwagon slash emissary instance. And so it would be really easy for me, like if you want to take the very tiniest step, we could just turn on a server for you, make you the server, the domain admin, and it would run on my hardware. And I'd be happy to do that with the understanding that it's absolutely your site, and that anytime you want to move it to your own hardware, it would really just be a matter of backing up the MongoDB database and pushing it off somewhere else. But that's an option if you want to just sort of play with what Bandwagon looks like without doing the whole tech stack setup. That's possible.
And it might be a good place to start. I do personally have some questions about MongoDB with some of their license changes, but that can probably be a discussion for another day. I wanted to mention that probably should have done this during the intro, but I didn't. You guys can't see this, but you can feel free to play along at home. I brought up on the browser, which anybody who's watching the video will see the bandwagon.fm website. Um, Better social for musicians. Connect your fans on the Fediverse. Connect to your fans on the Fediverse. And that's what we see there. Um, and then I'm just going to scroll down here so people can kind of see. So, question for you, Ben, while I'm on here. The opening page here, is this like what people would see on bandwagon.fm, or is it just a um, is that just a like a splash screen that you've got and not actually part of the bandwagon instance?
That is a splash screen
Okay.
that I made for this site. And again, we're starting to dig into some technical stuff, but Bandwagon is like a configuration that runs on another server that does all of the real difficult work. Um, and imagine that other server called Emissary, kind of like WordPress, not exactly, and I think better, but that's a different thing. Where you can set up your own pages and customize what it looks like. And then Bandwagon itself is your profile page that has your albums and songs and so forth, and then also some search pages that all tie together various search stuff. And you can move that around the website any way you want. And that'd be part of you guys being admins of a domain.
Excellent. Um,
So, so basically, we could have them come on, and they would basically see a Friends of CC Music something section, and then, but still up in that navigation, very easy to go to. They could go to all the artists and all that, but still get a sense of why we're here and what we're trying to do.
Yeah, if you wanted to use the same search engine that I've got, then you would just put one of those up on the page. If you wanted to have a very manually curated list of people who are on the site, then you could just manually make that page as well. Um, and then anyone who gets a profile on that site, kind of like Will, you've signed up on Bandwagon FM, there's a sign up form, and then you get a profile there, then that part would be pretty much exactly like you get on Bandwagon FM now.
Right. Okay. But I mean, we could even have on that, let's say, intro page kind of thing, we could have a link to our, if we do a streaming radio station or something, we could, it would be a separate server or whatever, but it would still, we could kind of have a nice, cool little intro thing. And then I think, I think we're thinking we could hopefully maybe start to reach out to CC World music people and try to get, a bunch of people on here that maybe haven't been specifically, pulled in through the Fediverse and start to bring that world together. Is that what you're thinking too, Doug?
yeah. So I mean, I guess my thought here is sort of twofold. So one of the things that a bunch of people have talked about. I know Tom talked about this briefly when you were on his podcast, Ben Tom Ray, um, that it's hard for folks to find Creative Commons music these days because that those words have gotten mixed up with like royalty free music and um, with like uh, AI stuff now. People just don't know. So part of the idea was um, we would have some sort of space for um, us to curate things. So it probably I don't. I mean, this would be a detail that we would need to figure out. Um, it would need to have enough music on it to actually be useful, um, but still be curated. And whether or not we did anything, like reviews and stuff, I mean, maybe that would be something that we, go out to another site. Maybe that we do some of that with like the post functionality. I'm not real sure, but um, so that was one of the reasons. But the other one was just, you know, again, being if we have firsthand knowledge of a tool, then we're better able to help musicians, pick their tools and stuff like that. So, I mean, we kind of need to figure out like maybe we end up, deploying like Mirlo as well. And then like if a musician comes to us, then we can have a better discussion instead of just saying, well, these things exist, go figure it out, which is kind of what we largely do right now. I don't know, and cause I don't know, like, cause I haven't used them. So I think that, using something in anger is, you're going to learn a lot more, as far as like, you know, just what are the pain points and how do you get around them and things of that nature. Um, but I guess the thing is, the point of the request was that, as far as I know, there's no, like, all of the people that sign up are musicians posting their own music. Is that correct? Or at least as far as you know, you might not know all of these people.
That is intended. And I'm not doing a really heavy-handed enforcement, but I'm a software developer. I'm not a lawyer. I know, 1/10 of what you guys know about Creative Commons. So I try to stay as far away from just the legal aspects as possible. And so one of the things that you check off when you sign up is I'm only posting my own music or music that I have permission to post.
Yeah. Well, so I guess I'm making the distinction there, and I'm saying, you know, the music that you have permission to post. I mean, I guess if you were like a band manager, then it would be like poster to musician is a 1-to-1 ratio on all of them as far as you're aware.
Yes. And let's say hypothetically, I was a band manager or a label or something where I represent 10 different bands. Each band would need to have their own sign in because that's the profile. That's the
Right.
control over that little bucket. And so if I've got 10, I would just need to maintain 10 different sign ins. I don't have like a group owner that lets you look at many different bands.
Yeah, so I am going to attempt to share my screen. And this works, but the problem is that, um, like, if I go back and forth, sometimes things get kind of weird. I also don't like it because I can't see people, but you guys should be able to see the new Focus recordings um, Bandcamp page. Yes, I can't see if your people are nodding, so somebody's gonna have to talk.
Yes,
Okay.
I could see it great.
Yeah. So in contrast to the way that Bandwagon.fm is currently set up, New Focus Recordings is, I think they call themselves, well, they do say label. I think they used to just say collective. But um, so they have all these different musicians, David Salvage, Isaac Shea. They got all of these, and there's a couple of different ways these work. And this is maybe, I guess would be maybe a more advanced feature. I'm gonna see if I can find one here. Okay, so here's one. So this would probably not be in like the MVP of this particular feature request, but most of them are just gonna keep a new focus recordings URL when you go into the individual album. But instead of saying, and I'm sure people have found these sorts of accounts on Bandcamp, if you're a label and you don't have a label account, you just have a regular musician's account. Well, actually, I can show you one of these. I don't know if you'll be able to see it though. Am I sharing? I think I'm sharing the window. Um,
I thought you might bring them up. Yeah.
yeah. So, there's no name of the musician down here, and all of the musicians here are folk records. And this, they just put the number of their release, then the name of the band, and then the name of the album. This is functional, but I think non-ideal. And this is how you would have to do it on Bandwagon as of the moment. Um, and so this is definitely more ideal. You have like the actual name there. Somebody was, again, I can't see, but it sounded like somebody was going to say something.
I was. I th- I think we probably want to go into some specifics there, but my thought is that if I was a label, then I would just run my own bandwagon server, and it would be music.mylabel.com, and then that would be your subset. And I'm sure that there are some other tools that labels will need, and like my ears are wide open on this, except the headphones. But I think that for that little grouping feature, that's just your own site.
Yeah, so that makes sense. But let's think about it. Let's say again that we run our own. Well, we are um, an organization of a number of different net labels. Like Block Sonic is the net label that I co-own with some folks, and we've had basically there's a bunch of people that do net label day stuff, and some of them are involved in various things. So I don't know how many of them would want to come to some sort of centralized bandwagon site. Um, but let's say that we did want to do something like that. I guess that's sort of what I was thinking. Let's say that Jumpsuit Records and Block Sonic, um, and we'll just say Folk Records since we already use them. We want to all use um, like a Friends of CC Music bandwagon server. We want to all log into that one server. And I mean, when we have three, then running three separate ones is probably not that big of a deal. But if we start to get like 50, then that's maybe less than ideal, having 50 different domains and stuff. So I guess that's kind of what I was thinking as far as like being able to, use those individual accounts to siphon them up. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, it does. And obviously, I haven't run a server with 50 domains on it yet, but my aim is to be able to run a server with 1,000 domains on it.
Mm.
I think you've got some really great economies of scale when you start sharing your Activity Pub cache and your queue workers and a bunch of other things across a whole bunch of different sites. I have a little bit more work to do with porting accounts from one server to another. Got a little bit more work to do with minimizing the amount of server memory that each new domain takes. So I wouldn't say like right now today I can run 1,000 domains on one server, but I'm running 10, and I'm sure we could run 20. And before you get to 50, I will be there. Again, like I don't want to just push this as the one idea, but I really think that a separate domain for each little group would be great. And then those search engines can actually be told, well, what other domains do I want to listen to? And you end up kind of with like this web ring situation where if you, let's say Friends of CC Music is sort of the overarching
Yeah.
organization, and you could run, 10 or 20 little domains, they could all know about each other and search across those domains, even if they're just really showing their own local music. Hopefully that's all making sense.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I mean, so one of the I think I mentioned this, but we didn't really talk about it enough, maybe for you to understand what we were saying, Ben, because there's a lot of backstory here. Um, so on the issue of like a curator being able to go to a single place, like I think that's one of the problems. Like it's right now is that it's not hard to find CC music, but it's hard to find them like all in one place. I mean, actually, I mean maybe maybe the search isn't so bad. I guess if you just formatted all of domains, maybe maybe it could work. But if they already have pre-existing domains, I don't know. I guess one of the problems with Bandcamp specifically is that they don't search by license, um, and so that's a problem with Bandcamp specifically. Um, one thing before we go, while I've got the new focus stuff on here, and then I can go back to the view with everybody so I can see. So we've got the new focus recordings link. But the other thing that it does is if there's already, like if the musician has an account, you can just point them there. So this is maybe something that like the musician has their own bandwagon account, but they're also it's also a release that somebody's putting out on a net label. They could just it would show up on the net label link. I mean on the list of albums, but then when they actually click through, then it just points them to the artist, and that way, the label doesn't have to deal with any of the purchasing. They can just purchase right with the from the musician. Now, some labels would, they would want to deal with the purchase stuff, but that's just going to depend. Like, um, I don't think that's something that we would want to deal with. Um, at least not in the short term. We might have to in the long term. But yeah, I guess I'm thinking. I mean, there's probably some back end stuff, but I'm sort of thinking about the user experience of having like, bandcamp.com, like single place. Okay, I'm still in the same place and being able to move around and go. Um, maybe this is something we need to talk to. Well, Jason, you're a podcaster, um, so maybe this is something that you can speak to. Um, as far as like finding music, I don't know if this is a problem that you've had, Jason, or oh, can't hear you, Jason. I can see your lips moving, but I can't hear you. I don't know if anybody else can hear you. Uh, yep, can't hear you. Uh, William, you are a different type of podcaster, but you
Yeah,
you might still run into the same problem.
yeah.
So,
I mean, there's probably a number of things that I could maybe just talk to Ben separately on some of this stuff about. But yeah, I mean, so I end up getting music from mostly from Bandcamp, but I've also gotten it from Jamendo. Trying to think of some of the other ones, maybe FMA or whatever. So buy music there or download it, and then throw it into my Strawberry app or whatever and play stuff from there. But yeah, so it's super convenient to grab it from Bandcamp. But but sometimes it's not on Bandcamp. So I mean, I think your model is going to be a fix to that. I mean, assuming all the search thing kind of figures out. But what were you specifically asking, Doug, on that?
Well, so one of the problems that we're trying to serve, like the solve, the bigger issue here is that um, podcasters in particular, they find it hard to find good Creative Commons music. Um, there might be stuff that's labeled Creative Commons. It's not even Creative Commons. Um, there's just a
So
lot of sifting. So, um,
yeah, so I wouldn't say I am probably the person to ask about that. Maybe Jason or maybe Rhino probably would really be
yeah,
the
yeah,
person to
that's
talk about.
that is why I asked Jason, but then Jason
Yeah,
was muted by Destiny. So,
yeah. Because I get a lot of recommendations. I save a lot of things for Bandcamp Friday basically from Rhino, and then I'll buy it on Bandcamp Friday,
yeah. So,
or other
okay.
people too, other things I've listened to or whatever podcasts and stuff. So
Okay, there's the new on bandwagon. Just kind of poking. Okay, discover. So discover. So this is use hashtags or search artists. So at the moment, okay, so there is license. So you do have a license pull down over on the left. So, um, yeah,
on that, I was wondering if you might have just a just Creative Commons option. I didn't see that on there, Ben. Do you have that? You could maybe add that. I don't know if
yeah.
that's a possibility the way we
He's
got it
got
laid out.
attribution, the BYNC, all the major one. Well,
Right.
and zero. Um,
So I was just wondering if there was one that could just be just Creative
oh,
Commons. But
so it would like select all of them. Yeah, that would actually
yeah,
be pretty useful. I think that
Yeah, it's certainly possible. It would take a little bit of doing to do, but I was kind of thinking that same thing. Like, I just threw all these in there without really understanding all the differences. But we could work on something that's just all Creative Commons, and then you kind of filter from there.
yeah, this is one thing that I'm not on Free Music Archive as much as I used to be. But this used to be something that they actually had a pretty good search for. Oh yeah, that was on the Tribe of Noise page. Let me see if they still have. Well, I mean, I guess the way they do it is would might actually be like the easiest way to implement this. I'll try this whole share thing again. All right, so they do a couple of different things. They have it like the multi checkbox, so you can just these are the same licenses you have. They don't seem to have CC0, but otherwise the same ones that you have. Um, or you can do the oh, go away. Um, my pull down thing go. Oh, yeah, license right there. Or like it'll pick the ones that are commercial use. Um, I don't really know. Yes, though. But yeah, so that might be a way to sort of get at the license thing. Uh, there are, and I don't know how much don't I don't think it would be a hard coding exercise, but it would just be like more stuff on the screen UI wise. There are a number of other like licenses that are in that same vein. I don't know. I don't know. It's probably a separate discussion, but I'll just mention it. Like historically, the Art Libre license was really important in the French speaking world. I don't know how much like archival music people would be uploading, but I guess if there was gonna be like a non-CC license, that would be the one. Like people just don't tend to put stuff in like the GPL. It's not a thing people use for music. I mean, I'm sure some people do, but um, Dogmazique has a list of like a bunch of licenses that are in that sort of vein. I think most of them are probably not very useful, but the Art Libre might be one that you would think about adding potentially to. And I
Is
guess,
there an
go ahead.
go ahead. Is there an option so that, let's say, you could just set it to, let's say, Creative Commons attribute, whatever, possibly all Creative Commons, and then see the stuff that's come out in the last month or, some period of time? Oh, you're muted.
Haha, we could do something by release date.
Yeah.
I've
Okay.
got that. That shouldn't be too difficult to add to the search.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
The only thing that I had gotten started with and then have backed off of was like a geolocation search, which would
Okay.
be really cool. It ended up just being really hard, and people weren't screaming for it. So like as soon as someone screams for it, I'll add some other filters. But yeah, release date would be really simple, actually.
Okay.
What is the default like when you go to the list? Like, is this last one not the most recent? That's what I would expect, but I don't know if that's the case.
Um, it's actually
No.
shuffling. Every time you reload,
Uh,
it gives you a new shuffle. Um,
Interesting.
and the shuffle is actually done in a couple steps. I'm really proud of the algorithm that makes it work. But the end result is you should see new
Yeah.
content every time you go,
Okay. That's
which felt more fair than like some kind of ranking algorithm.
For sure.
yeah. There is well, so what is this calendar? Is the calendar events or is that upcoming releases?
No, that's events.
Okay.
So every band can post albums with songs in them. They can post events, which are supposed to be like show dates or gigs or things like that. And then they can also post something like a blog article. Um, and so each one of those things you can kind of search separately. But everything in the calendar, that's just stuff that people have
Yeah.
put in there.
Cool.
That's the one that really needs a geo search. But
Yeah.
oh
Um,
God, it was hard.
well, so are you just trying to do it based on like trying to do like a within 25 miles sort of thing or
Yeah, um, we could do, within 25 miles of your location or choose a major metropolitan area. There's a lot of different ways that location searches happen,
yeah.
and um, it ended up just being larger than I really wanted to deal with at the time. But we'll need to go back at some point and have some sort of effective way of finding shows near me.
Yeah, well, so one easy way to do it, of course, this requires people to actually fill in metadata correctly. Although I guess the 25 miles thing does too. I mean, there's what like 180 countries or something in the world. Like, just have a drop down, pick your country, and then I mean, yeah, like if you're in Luxembourg, okay, like pick France or something. Like, just but I mean, that wouldn't be hard. That's the way I would do it. I mean, at least to start. I mean, I think the 25 miles with like actual like, um, yeah, that's cool. But like, um, yeah, I think for most people, if they're like, oh yeah, what's in Germany? Then they're going to be able to figure out, oh yeah, that city is too far away from me, etc. It'll at least be a start, I guess.
So I guess my thought is, if I think you're very effective. Oh, so I want to feel first. I want to mention the NHAM website. I just feel like I've got to mention that a million times. I feel like they're really starting to figure it out and pull a lot of the indie musics to get together. But obviously, we're kind of in a in a overlapping Venn diagram kind of thing, right? So with the CC Music stuff, And what I'm trying to think about is if we have this thing going, then we are going to basically be trying to talk to CC Music artists who are not Fedi aware yet. And I guess I'm trying to, I just, my head's kind of coming up empty, but I'm trying to think, what does that mean for us? You know what I mean? So, what are the pieces that, how would we reach out to them? I don't know, in a dream world, we're saying, hey, put your music on here. A lot of them probably have their music in a lot of different places. Bandcamp's one of them. Adding it to Bandwagon is probably, yeah, okay, I can do that. Um, Maybe they say, I don't want to add to do another one. And then we have the Fedi kind of thing to add to that. And I don't, it's tough. It's again, it's the endless Fedi thing, right? Which is the size thing. What are we giving you as an audience? And I don't know. I'm trying to think it through, and I'm just thinking,
Yeah.
how do we convince somebody that they need to also be here?
I've got some thoughts on that. We probably don't need Ben for that discussion. So
Sure. Okay.
let's table that for right at the moment, and then we'll let Ben go in 20 minutes if we haven't decided that we've exhausted our discussion, and then um, yeah, we can come back to that, but I won't hold them too long. Uh, I don't know what is going on here, Ben, but uh, I I can log a bug for this. I feel like this is not something that should be happening. Can you see on the screen what is
I
going on here?
can. I'm not sure what you're getting there.
Well, it's just like populated that list of licenses like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I wonder if, well, it's taking up the whole screen. I wonder if I refresh again, if it like, will it like, does it do it a 7? No, that redid it. So that was
There you go.
just, oh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I got it into that state. Interesting. It's just like, that's, yeah. So if anybody ever puts in a weird bug report that says I have like, my list is reproducing. Well, you know what they're talking about now. So I don't know how I did that. All right. So I had hoped that I would actually have this spun up, but I didn't get enough time to do that. So don't exactly know what like URL wise. Well, you said something about domains earlier, and you were saying that you can do 10 now. So what are those domains? Where would I see such a domain? I guess.
Um, Let me maybe bump over to my
Oh,
machine.
okay.
So let me see here. I gotta do some stuff really quick. I wasn't really planning on this, but let's
Well, I
see
just put in
here.
the feature request yesterday, so I think people can forgive you for not like having a presentation ready.
Yeah. How do I share my screen? Is that
It's in the
center?
middle. It looks like
Share
it's an
window.
arrow. It's like third one over. Yeah.
There we are. Okay, so this is just my local development box. There's probably offensive words in here. I don't know. Um, but this is sort of what I see as like the very, very back end of an emissary server. And I've got three different domains running on my local machine right now. I usually just work with this one, but I can also, you know, have some aliases to my machine that I'll use occasionally. So this is just three. On production, I can't actually get to the production console right now for some reasons, but I could show you really quick. This is a emissary server. This is an emissary server. Um, and then Bandwagon FM is an emissary server. Those are, I think, the three that are actually in use. I've got, a few others that were kind of started for reasons and haven't really gone anywhere, but they all work fairly differently. This one is primarily just a documentation site without a whole lot of social, but it's my content manager and I know how to use it, so I use it. This is kind of like a Twitter knockoff. This is sort of the default skin for emissary, and I don't know, I whine here occasionally about doing ActivityPub work. But these are both, different instances. They're all running on the same machine that shares a lot of resources among them, and then just presents whatever you want to present. Um, if I were to go and actually edit this, go ahead.
Well, so I guess I mean this is basically exactly what I thought you were saying. Like if you go to any one of those, there's no
Hmm.
connection between them, and
Right.
I don't think that is ideal for what we're trying to do. Um, which is not to say it would be impossible. Again, like you're saying, you have the search stuff, but um,
Yeah, so the idea with that is that you would be able to run separate um, domains. Every one of those domains can run completely separately, but then at the same time, they can link together specifically with the search. And I don't have searchable content across Bandwagon and like my personal site, but the idea is that I would be able to come in here and add in another place that I wanted to include in my search engine, and then those search results from that other actor would show up on my search engine as well. So you could tie all those various sites together in something that would end up looking like this. It would just bounce to different sites when you clicked on
oh,
something from
okay,
somewhere else.
okay, that makes sense. Also, I think I may have solved my problem if
Cool.
this is true, but I assume you can just set those domains up as like subdomains. I mean, that's exactly what Bandcamp does.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And we would just go into, oh, well, I turned it off, but we'd go into that console. Um, Again, this is not production, but you'd go into this console
Yeah.
and add another one. You know, and we could make, actually that would be the host name, sorry, but we would make that the host name. There's a little bit of DNS work to then have the domain name and the subdomain point to this server. But then once the request gets to this server, it looks at all of the different things that are there and matches that up and serves the right page.
So if we, I don't know what we would end up doing, but if we wanted it to be friends of ccmusic.org, and then all of the individual labels could just be like blocksonic.friendsofccmusic.org, and then netwaves.friendsofccmusic.org.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. That's how we
And
would
then
do that.
under
Go ahead.
and then under that there would be an account for each artist is what you're imagining.
Well, yeah. So
Yes.
that's what I'm. Yeah. Even
And
if those
then
account. Go ahead.
me as the admin of that site, I can bump into any one of those profiles and make some changes. I don't do that on Bandwagon much, but sometimes someone has a problem with the way they've labeled things, and I can go and clean things up. So the domain owner you know, of whatever these subdomains, they can get into every individual person's account and make changes, set up credit card billing or whatever if that's what they want to do. And then each person who has an account, they can only touch their own stuff.
What would their Fetty account come up as? Is that an issue or
It would come up as that subdomain. So
okay,
if I'm, John at supernovarecords.friendsofccmusic.org,
right?
that would be my domain name.
Cool. Okay. We need a shorter than Friends of CC Music, I think. But
What was that?
we might need to go shorter than Friends of CC Music.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I was thinking, and just this was a thought that came into my head. Um, that like maybe something for like Net Label Day. Um, we've been involved in that, but like don't really own any parts of that. So um, maybe that's something that like Omar would be cool with us. setting that up. I mean, we have to deal with like domain stuff. I mean, I think if we did that, we'd want to do netlabel day, which is shorter, but maybe not as short as you would want. I mean, domain wise, like we can figure out
Yeah.
what that looks like. But I guess one thing that would be it'd be like a low maintenance sort of thing is like all of those releases that we get on netlabel day. Um, so I kind of assume that people know what that most of us here have been to this page before, but Ben might not have been. So the way netlabel day works now and has worked for 11 years, I guess, is that there's just this list name of label, which sometimes is not really a label, sometimes it's just a musician. But then all of their netlabel day releases. Like this could easily be a bandwagon server where all these releases go, and we could have nice album artwork and stuff like
That'd be
that.
pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's where we start. I don't know. I mean, again, we've got some decisions to make about like where we want to go long term. But I
Hmm.
think this would be like an immediate value to the community and like not a lot of work to just set this up. Once a year we like work with Omar to get stuff up there, and the releases automatically go out to the Fediverse, and people can like them and share them and all those sorts of things. So um, yeah, yeah, we'll have to talk to Omar about that at some point. Um, all right, so this is, I think, in a better place than where I thought it was, which is good. Um, does anybody else have any questions for Ben at the moment? I'm sure at some point we'll have them later, but
I don't have a question for me, but I'd just say that I wasn't really sure all of what was going to be going on here, but I'm really interested in helping people to turn on bandwagon servers. So, um, anything that I can do to help out. If there are questions that come up, I think you all have my contact, but I'll put it in the chat. Feel free to reach out anytime if there's something I can do to help you out, whether it's bandwagon related or not. I'm at your disposal.
It
thank
could
you,
be a
Ben.
good partnership. Yeah.
Yeah,
A good.
yeah. I think one of the things that we've struggled with is just finding um, like an easy place to get involved. Like I don't know if you've ever played around with CC Mixter, Ben, but like they've been around for like 20 years, and so there's a lot of um, technical and emotional debt at CC Mixter. It makes it difficult to like have like a real impact. I mean, like the stuff is there to be done, but it's just like you're really going to have to dig in to strip away like basically the site needs to be rewritten completely. So it's not a task that anybody really wants to take on. So um, yeah, I think that's one of the things that we've struggled with, and this seems to hit at a place um, where it feels right as far as getting involved and having an impact. So yeah, I definitely think that uh, we'll get one stood up, and if nothing else, learn enough about it to help musicians make some decisions. So probably more than that, but I think at the very least that. So um, well, Ben, really appreciate you hopping on and your enthusiasm for all of this. And yeah, I don't know what our time frame is going to be, but you'll be hearing from us for sure.
Awesome. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I look forward to talking more about this, and if what we have right out of the box doesn't work, then let's figure out what we need to do, and I'll put those things at the top of the list. Hope you guys have a great
All
day.
right. Thanks, Ben.
Bye, guys.
I don't know. People might actually know this shirt. I didn't say anything about it, but just so people can see, I'm wearing my Free Music
Still
Archive
have
shirt.
mine.
Yeah, this shirt. I mean, I only have it because it's a Free Music Archive shirt. I don't wear it in public very often because there's a hole in it somewhere. But clearly it's not that big because I can't even find it. But but I've had it for. I mean I mean this was from the Cheyenne era, which ended in 2018. So it's at least that old. So
Yeah, yeah.
all right, William, you had a question that I suggested that we table. I don't remember what it was.
I, I'm just thinking like I think that the idea is perfect. I think it's great to try to is that the word emissary? I don't know.
Yeah, emissary. Well, emissary is like the backbone, like he showed. There's
Yeah, no,
non-bandwagon
but I'm
stuff,
saying
but
yeah, but I'm saying as a as a bridge between um, I don't know the indie fetty music
oh
stuff
yeah, yeah.
and the CC world. And I guess I think, oh, that's really cool, but I totally want that to happen. So I'm not coming from the perspective of the general CC person who doesn't know maybe what fetty is. And so I guess I'm trying to think like, what's our selling point? But
Well, so yeah, we don't necessarily need to sell the Fediverse. I mean, we might to some people, but I think, again, if we just want to have a place designed for, um, for like people to come. I mean, I guess one way to think about it is like um, a community like Klong Klong Moo. That would be one way to conceive of this. I mean, Klong Klong Moo is great, but I think it has two problems as far as like a broader like landing page for CC music. One is the name. People are not going to just like stumble upon Klong Kong Moo and know what the hell they are. Um, and
well, yeah,
and two, it's two dudes, and they're good at what they do, but like they're limited in scope because of that. So you know, and I'm not, I don't want to replace them, but I think if we want a landing page, then we probably
right.
want something with a little broader mainstream appeal.
So
So
I'm
are
gonna.
they not interested in like bridging out beyond just being two people on the site?
I don't think so. And that's, I
So
mean, it's like their reviews and stuff. I mean, you know,
so I just shared the NHAM website, and Hong Kong Moo is here somewhere. Um, I saw them. I swear I did. Can't remember where. Watch. No. Okay. Maybe not. Okay. Um, is it attend? No. Okay.
This is a very
So
bizarre looking website.
yes, it's a little bizarre, but as having tried to figure out how to like organize the CC stuff, I kind of respect them for just saying like, fuck it, I'm just gonna put it up here and try to make it make a little sense. So if you go to it, I wish they had a different name. I'm not sure exactly the name thing. NHAM. But then like three sections. The main sections there are kind of the news, the reviews, and the releases. But then actually above those are like listen, watch, and attend. And I would say click on the listen section. And so they have a radio there, right there, but they don't have something that you could throw in like an app or something, as far as I can tell. But then they do have like the different indie music radio stations. So my understanding of what NHAM right now is trying to bring all of the different indie stuff together. And so my question was, how do we kind of help that happen? And you can see they link to Bandwagon and stuff like that. If you look at news, there's links from Mirlo and Bandwagon and Fair Camp and all that kind of stuff going on. So um, um,
In their videos, they have podcasts with Ben.
right. And they've also got Tom on there, Tom's podcast on there. I think that's the third one on there, I think. Lorenzo's Music, yeah. 2 of them on there, so. Anyway. So they said they're doing a redesign at some point soon, I guess. I don't know. But it's really hard to like think through what the section should be and then how to have it not be overwhelming. And there's a section there. Where the hell is it? Oh, yeah. Here's the other thing. Annoying, but if you see the hamburger menu up on the top there next to the main text, click on that. And then you see their total full menu section. You guys see that? And so on the right there, you've got the news, the reviews, and the releases, right?
Yeah.
But there's all the other stuff there too, and that's on the left there. So like, there you go. You've got the Mastodon servers for musicians. Click on that, and when we were talking about, well, we should have a Mastodon, there's a bunch of them already that they list out there, right?
Yeah, but none of those are for CC.
Well, except that Bass Pistol. So I believe Bass Pistol is, and he was just on Lorenzo's Music. If you go to listen, so you got to bounce around a lot. Go to listen, and it says Bass Pistol is an endlessly evolving union for the underground creators of the third millennium, carrying the values of the Creative Commons. Bass Pistol, if you listen to his interview with Tom not too long ago, he's all CC oriented. Bass Pistol basically is like this collective of lots of different things. So they have we were just there, the Bass Pistol server, and that's for I think all musicians. But they have a radio station. They do a lot of different things. So it's just kind of hard because there's like everything, but he's definitely very CC oriented. But yeah, beyond him, I don't know anybody else that's really specifically CC.
Well, and again, I mean, unless you know that,
I agree.
nothing about the name suggests like that there's anything CC. So again, I don't think we need to try to replace any of these.
Yeah,
but having a place where people can just go and they know what they're getting,
Yep.
then I think there's value in that. And of course, you don't want 80,000 people on your server because then it's going to cost $1 billion. But at least it's a place. But yeah, I mean that's whether or not we dive headfirst into Fediverse stuff is sort of I guess a separate question. Really.
If you go to that hamburger page, if you go to that hamburger menu thing,
yeah.
And then you go to artist directories, the first one there is Kwang Kwang Mu.
Oh yeah. So,
and then Jamendo and so.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is a directory of sorts.
Yeah.
but it's just a curated, it's stuff that's recommended by Stovall and Conrad. It's not
Yeah.
meant to
It's like,
be exhaustive or
yeah,
anything.
but right. I mean, I think that's the two things that's the issues that are kind of pulling us in different directions, right? Which is it's an indie music world, right? And indie is right in the title. So you kind of so the Fediverse idea of it being decentralized is all fits with the indie thing, right? But then at some point you wanting people to be able to find shit. So then you want some place where people can go to and find it. But then whoever ends up being or wherever ends up being the place that you go and find it ends up having this control over what is ordered in what direction and what's listed, what's not listed. So it's I don't know. It's a hard problem to solve in my book, you know. Jessica?
I just wanted to note sort of the elephant in the room, and that is over here on this bandwagon.fm. It's free for now,
Yep.
but it's going to become paid. And, I understand him wanting everyone in on the beta because that's free for now, but it's going to switch. And the more people he's got on there in the free version, chances are the more people are going to pay to keep it. And I think we need to keep that perspective here as well.
Yeah. And he has addressed that kind of stuff, and I think he's said the right things, but they always say the right things.
Well, I mean, if we're
Well, I
hosting
haven't
our,
heard it. I just was reading on the site, and I
Yep.
was just like, it's kind
Yeah.
of a bait and switch, possibly, or
Well,
the
right.
features that we may want, or the features that friends of Creative Commons may want or may want to use. So, you know,
Yeah.
before joining up and signing on and agreeing to start putting stuff there, I think we need to talk about the long term,
Yeah.
the long term
He
situation
right.
about you
He
know
has he has committed to everything being fully, whatever he's doing basically at bandwagon.fm would also be on the thing, on bandwagon that you could run, for yourself, whatever you want to. So how that all works out, to me, a big, pivot point on that is search. We don't want search to be in one place because that's where we get into trouble, I think. Um, so I like the idea that he's willing to host, whatever server we want, but I agree with you. That's maybe a dangerous point at that point. But it's the WordPress.org model versus the WordPress.com model, and I think he's following that. I think that's a really good model. Nothing's perfect, but it's
well, I'm just saying that I think we'd want some sort of agreement with him going in about long term.
I don't think it makes a lot of sense to put our stuff on bandwagon.com because we need separate domains. So that's just kind of a non-starter, really.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, when at first when he was talking about the netlabel stuff, I would I thought maybe that would make some sense, but just using the domains, we're gonna need to have control of our domain names and stuff. There's no way we can get that using bandwagon.fm. So it'll either have to be something that's got a netlabel day URL or some sort of friends of CC. I mean, it could be I don't know if fccm.org is open. I mean, we could play around with what the
play
name
around with it.
actually is, but yeah. So FCCM is the IEEE's field programmable, so no P. Field programmable custom computing machines. That's what fccm.org is. So,
I think there's some, unpopular basically, but there's a number of CC Music dot something TLDs maybe that are out there. that might be available. The .org is not, but I think CC.
Oops, shit.
Non-commercial. We might actually be able to, I don't know if we want it, but ccmusic.radio, that might actually be available.
I was gonna say we could, if we. I mean, again, I don't know.
European registrar though. But
People are French speakers are vocal about the free art license and the art Libre license. But if we did want to not have CC in the name and give us some license to do other. Okay, I'm going to use license in two different ways in the same sentence. Some license to use other licenses. Like we could do nativemusic.org. That could be.
but right, but then we get into the problem we just talked about, right? Which is
Well,
confusion over what people are getting out of it. Like, I don't know.
well, yeah. I mean, I guess the hope is that that becomes the new standard term. Like nobody's hoping that Klong Kong Moo becomes the new standard term. Like that's not that's not how it was designated. But you know, so I agree that short term it's not the best play, but long term there could be benefits. I mean, I don't think this is going to happen, but what if CCHQ does, starts doing terrible things and we don't want to be associated with them anymore? I mean, CC Mixter got tired of them and, stopped using the Creative Commons name. Of course, they still use the license. So that would be one way to,
Yeah.
deal with
But
that.
if we're asking, yeah, we need a good term because we're asking people to, I think, right, at some level, put their artist name .cc something,
Yeah.
and they're not going to want to,
Yeah. I mean, maybe native music is too long too. I bet NM is taken, I would guess. Well, they don't have a functioning site, but they're trying to put me somewhere, so I think somebody actually does own that. I wonder if it's like www. I just don't. Yeah, I think somebody's got that one. But anyway, yeah. So
That's probably Neiman Marcus, Doug.
Yeah.
Something like that. Like Barnes and Noble is bk.com. They paid a lot of money for that.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah. Well, anyway, they don't have a site, so they're not. I mean, they're not using it.
Is broadcast.com available?
But yeah. So I don't remember what we have. Oh, so next month is the anniversary talk, and then October is pick a direction day. So I guess we have some options to like just sort of not do a lot with this until maybe November, or if somebody wanted to like pick this up and sort of like run with it, then could potentially have some like meetings of like a smaller group of folks. I don't know if anybody has thoughts on that. Definitely can't push the September meeting topic. We need to get started on that if we're going to do anything in January.
guess I'm not entirely clear in what he's asking us to do.
He's not asking us to do anything.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, except like if we do it, give him some feedback. Yeah.
I thought he wanted us to become beta testers and to start
Well, I mean, I think,
encouraging people in our world to use it.
yeah, I mean, he wants people to use it, but I mean, he's, it's like if it's
I
not the
think
right
he's got
fit.
a lot of people already doing that. But
Well, I don't think anybody else is running a production.
no, nobody's running
So,
their own.
yeah.
Not yet.
So, um,
But I'm not sure that he's been ready to do that. So
yeah.
I'm not sure he is
I
ready
know.
to do
I
that.
know he's talked about like, doesn't really have like the update mechanisms and stuff. Um, but yeah, I mean, as long as the people that we get to be our guinea pigs know that they're guinea pigs, then whatever, we just blow the server away and then re-upload the stuff. I mean, I was going to talk to Nicholas Burgess about it. Um, we can probably pick out a few other people that don't have net labels that they're associated with that, um, have been around and might be interested in trying something. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it'd need to be people that we know pretty well. Maybe Stoffel. I mean, he's got stuff, but he might also just be kind of curious. So we could probably pick out a few people and get some stuff up there.
So we would be running it ourselves then, or would you?
Yeah. I was gonna install it earlier today, but I just didn't run it.
Oh, okay.
My meeting with my coach at lunch went a little long, so didn't get a chance to do it. So
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I like the idea that there's other pages that we could have, as a front page kind of stuff. Um, I don't know how that, what all the capabilities are there, but that would be cool to just make it our home page.
yeah, I mean, I don't know what our import options would be from like the WordPress posts into the
Yeah.
news posts or whatever it is that the bandwagon has. Yeah, news. I don't know how seamless that would be, but I think that would be, yeah. There's at least some potential to decommission the WordPress. But if we do want a different URL, then we probably don't want to do that. Probably just keep the WordPress, and then
That's true.
the news stuff could be stuff specific to releases and everything. So there's a bunch of stuff, details to be worked out, which is why like, if somebody just wanted to take it and make all that happen, then at least for now that'd be great. But we don't necessarily have to decide right now. Some people can sleep on it and be like, okay, yeah, that seems like something that I'd
Yeah,
want to do.
yeah, we really need a guinea pig though. I mean,
Yeah, and I'll talk to Nicholas, and then I'm sure he'd be fine with it. But yeah,
I
just
might have
as
somebody too. Okay.
yeah. And I guess one thing worth thinking about. I mean, it's a detail, but like, people have like release dates, so it'll need to be somebody that like while we're sort of like beta testing it, that we know well enough to like get their release date ahead of time, and then we can push the button the same day that they push the button on Bandcamp or however it is that they release. So, um, yeah, we don't necessarily want to make them have more work to do. So.
Yeah. And then the buying music too. I'm wondering how that's going to work a little bit.
Yeah, so this is one of the reasons why that I was talking about pushing people to another site. Like for Nicholas, then we can just push them to his band camp. I don't know, like there's a lot of potential as far as the you know, if we become essentially a net label, or have a net label branch of what we're doing, then there's a lot of ways that can go, which is going to have to be a bigger discussion. But yeah, I just need to see where we're at to start with, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the only way we're going to know some of this is to try it, right? I mean, just don't want to get too locked into anything. But I mean, if Bandwagon did end up being, I mean, people run their online lives off of WordPress.org, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, I definitely can see that, as long as he's doing all the right things, Bandwagon being that for a lot of musicians. I don't know how many years in the future that would be, but
And there are, some of you I'm sure know this, but there are, competitors in that space. There's Fair Camp, there's Mirlo.
Those are the two I know. Yeah.
So,
how would you compare those for like someone who's never heard of them before?
So Fair Camp is a very well. I think there are interviews with Lorenzo's Music. Tom did interviews with both of the people from both of those groups.
yeah.
But Fair Camp is supposed to be very basic. So I think kind of like a static site almost kind of idea, which is that you basically can just throw your files into a folder and the Fair Camp website will basically be created for you. I don't think there's any selling or anything. It's very basic. And Mirlo, they say, Mirlo is very much like Bandwagon, I would say, but more fancy and has a whole group of people. And I think I don't know if it is officially a nonprofit, but it's trying to do that, and it's very artist oriented. They talk about, I don't know, Bandwagon has talked a long time about, that they're going to be very WordPress.org-esque, you can put it on your stuff. Mirlo is saying that now too, but I don't know where they're at with that. But Mirlo and Bandwagon seem to get along at this point very well, although they seem to be doing almost exactly the same things. So,
Right.
Fair Camp's just kind of a little less ambitious version of that at this point. Oh, sorry. Mirlo isn't trying to do any Fetty stuff at this point. They're just, just a Bandcamp replacement. So no Fetty stuff.
So those are the interviews that Tom did with the three that we've brought up. So, yeah, I mean, Mirlo not doing Fetty stuff, I think probably doesn't make a lot of sense for us. But
yeah.
In Fair Camp, yeah, I mean, I think it's maybe a little too basic.
I think Fair Camp works great for a lot of, individual artists.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean,
just have a website.
Yeah, I'm not sure what we would get out of setting one of those up though. So I mean, again, if we wanted to set them up in like, like a little, then we play around with them, and then we have them as, you know, a way to talk to musicians about what they offer and stuff. Maybe there's some value in that, but I think Bandwagon is definitely like where we want to probably focus things at the time for the time being. So, yeah. Well, anybody have anything else that we need to address tonight?
The only one thing I would say is I feel like as you were talking about, Jessica, about the like concern about, I don't know, a power play at stake. To me, it's really search, and I don't know that I got a good sense of the solution on the search part of things. I guess I always think about, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I think about with podcasts, it ends up being whatever app you're using that really ends up, where the search is. And so that's nice because, you can choose whatever app you want, you know what I mean? So there's no really cornering the market on that. And I feel like that might be the place we end up with the music thing too, but we're not, that's very unfigured out at this point, I would say. So same with PeerTube too. It's a video thing. It's like search is where it all comes together. And apparently that's a big part of what drew Blue Sky to be what they, to take the approach they took. To that search was, kind of not figured out as much on Mastodon and Fediverse stuff. And I think that's probably where their VC money is coming from, where they think no matter what ends up happening with the decentralization, there's going to be a search central and it'll be Blue Sky at some point. So I don't know. Sorry.
Yeah, but again, if we just sort of like, become like the island of misfit toys net label, like, hey, you don't have a net label, your CC, put your shit on our site. Like, if we do that, then like search is not, it's not going to matter. Like, it's all going to be on our site. We don't have to worry about separate domains. Like, that's just like, it's there. Go to the album page, there are the albums.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, I don't fear the Napoleon in myself, but I always want to watch out for it. And the other thing about it, I guess, is I would think, what do we end up saying to the CC music artists who say, well, okay, yeah, this has been awesome, but I really want to run it myself. Oh, am I losing search because of that? Kind of long-term questions, but you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I mean, you still be connected to the Fediverse.
Yep.
So, I mean,
There are a number of, there's a number of CC music artists that are already on Bandwagon and on Mirlo, and probably a number of them have all three at this point. So, but yeah, but the ones who are not are really an opportunity. Sorry.
all right. Well, it said September we will be discussing the 25th anniversary. So, if anybody's made it through the hour and 20 minutes or so of video, and you want to be a part of the, planning the festivities, you know what? If I had thought about this, I'd already had the date up. It is September 22nd. So the fourth Monday of the month. And yeah, we'll figure out what we want to do then.
So Doug, do you think you might put something up,
You mean,
Bandwagon wise?
yeah, I mean, I'm gonna install it just so I
Okay,
can see what the install is like and stuff at the very least. So,
cool.
yeah. All right. Well, I'll see you guys in a month.